cause no be you get yourself for Colorado. Say now you go give me peace every.
I wish at this point to particularly to apologize deeply on behalf of the chiefs and people of Gold Coast and Ghana for the atrocities, the cruelty, the inhuman treatment that were committed 400 years ago by my ancestors during the Atlantic slave trade, where over 400 years ago, millions of our brothers and sisters were captured, sold, and transported under inhumane and cruel circumstances through Elmina Castle across to the Caribbeans and to the New World. On behalf of the chiefs and people of Ghana, I do render unqualified apology, deep from the bottom of our hearts. Deep from our bottom of our hearts. But one thing that I want you to be aware of, it was not without resistance. Some of our chiefs did fought and resisted. Some of our people did fought and resisted. But we are fighting a losing battle against a stronger army. People with guns, and we had no guns. They deceived us with liquor and all other temptations. Whatever the circumstances that led us to us, we stand here to render apology. And it's my wish and prayer that this apology is accepted. It's accepted deep by our brothers and sisters from the diaspora. May the blood of Jesus assist us to overcome that evil, that never again should we witness this cruelty, this inhuman cruelty of man to man in this country.
Hey everybody, I'm sitting here with an amazing, wonderful, I would say she-boss in my opinion, who is the owner of award-winning companies here in Ghana. One, Avis Rent-A-Car here in Ghana, and also Landtours Ghana. So please help me welcome Miss Mona Boyd.
Thank you.
Hi, Miss Mona, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming on my channel.
I'm pleased to do so.
You know, it's so funny because when we met each other at the mall, it was like I was taken aback because before my mom and I moved here, we knew about you. We knew about Avis Rent-A-Car before we came here.
Okay.
So we heard about this Avis Rent-A-Car here in Ghana, and before we came, and we were thinking about renting a car when we came here, but my mom had cold feet in terms of the driving here. So when we finally met you, I was like, oh, she's the owner of Avis Rent-A-Car. It was really awesome. So so just hearing about you and then finally meeting you, I was like, okay. So this is the true she-boss here. Okay. So tell us, so how did it all start for you? How did you move here to Ghana? How long have you been here?
Okay, I've been here for 28 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
How I came here, why I came. My husband is from Ghana.
Okay.
And we were living a charmed life in America. We were in Boston South End. And we had started talking about having a child. And this was right around the time of the Rodney King situation.
Okay, yes.
And I had said to him, okay, if you want to have a child, we have to raise that child in Ghana. We cannot.
I don't blame you.
I'm not. If it's a boy, if it's a boy, we will raise him in Ghana. But then when our son Selassie was born, we had like a year and a half to really put our plan together and make the move. So 18 months after he was born, we moved here. You know,
Oh,
I can say,
wow.
had he been a girl, I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you today. But I did not want to raise a male child in America when we had options. Because his father was from an African country, and my son could grow up not being marginalized in any way.
Yes.
Skin color would just not mean very much to him, you know. And so we moved here. We looked at what we could do. So my husband says, why don't we start a car rental company? Because, you know, there must be some demand for it. So we had 3 cars that we bought from the U.S., and that's how we started.
Wow, just 3.
And a year after renting our 3 little cars, people would, during that time that we rented, people would come to me and say, Mona, can you make a reservation, have your chauffeur make a reservation the next time they go to Cape Coast? Or where should we go to eat? And what should we do? So we were getting so many requests like that. Their families were coming, they had no idea where to start. So Landtours was born. I said, this is tour operation. I'm going to start a tour company. So I started.
So Avis was kind of birthed, or Landtours was birthed out of Avis.
Right, it was exactly. So that, you know, then it really unveiled the need there for tour operations. So we started Landtours. I mean, Landtours a year later.
A year later.
A year later.
So,
so both companies have grown. Actually, Landtours is bigger than Avis. It's a bigger company in terms of you know, revenue and volume of business.
Okay, so tell us more about Landtours, what you do,
well,
the services you offer.
We are a destination management company. We have 3 branches of that company, or 3 divisions. One is travel, which we do a lot of ticketing.
Okay.
And travel related services like outbound reservations, outbound car rentals, inbound reservations, inbound car rentals. That's one division. The other division is MICE, and we're doing MICE, meetings, you know, incentives, conferences and events.
Okay, so that's what MICE stands for.
That's what it stands for, yeah. So we do a lot of conferencing. We get conference groups coming into Ghana to hold their meetings or their conference from Europe and all over. And then the last division, which is the biggest division, is tours. We operate in 7 West African countries. We're in Ghana, Benin, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Gambia, and Sao Tome.
Oh, wow.
Sao
okay,
Tome.
so she's throughout the continent. Okay.
All along the coast, you know. And so we do a lot of business in that area. When what we do with the tour business is we curate experiences. We don't do ride and see, ride and look tours, shopping tours. You know, we curate an experience. So our tours are highly immersive, you know.
Okay, so it's really kind of like you give your customers a total experience,
and
not just like the, you know, so you're more broad.
Yeah, much broad. Well, you get involved. It's close up, and you leave here changed. You leave here knowing something about the culture, about the people, you know, the way of life. So there are experiences. Everything we do is an experience. We have to create the experience for you. So there's no like you come to Ghana, you get on a bus, you go to the mall one day, the next day you go to a museum, the next day you go to the market, you know. There is some of that, you know, but our market experience, I'll give you an example how we do a take on the market. Rather than taking you to a market and leaving you there to walk around and shop, our market experience, we have a cooking tour where we'll take you to the market and, you know, and you'll buy food for the meal, and then you'll come back and cook the Ghanaian meal and you eat it with, you know, the people that's involved, with the guests that have been invited to help you share the meal. So it's very, very immersive from, you know, like from market to table.
Right.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, I would say, kind of like a more personal and intimate experience.
Yeah,
you're
meeting the people in the market. You're looking at how that market works. You're the chef that's working for you, you know, him and his assistants or his chefs, you know, you're meeting them, looking at how they do things, you know, you're learning something new, you know, you're learning about the food that grow here and etc. And because it's all African food that we're showing them how to cook. So that's what I mean when I say it's immersive. Same thing with fashion. You know, we go to the market, we pick out the cloth, you come to the seamstress place, you see how it's made, and then they'll do a fashion show for you. You know, so it's
okay. So you have like a full fashion show?
Yeah, you get a fashion show,
Okay.
So it's really, you don't just see clothes show up. You look at the whole process of how we do it in Ghana. And of course, you know, we have, for Landtours, we have the most popular of all of our tours is our village visits, where you go to a village, there's a naming ceremony, you get adopted by a clan, you see how they live, you spend the night in the village, you do what they do in the evening, you know, you go to work with them the next day for a little while to see how they live their lives and how they earn their money, you know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, after 1 night and 2 days, you really understand what goes on in that village and you go home. We curated an experience 10 years ago, and we've been doing it we've been doing 3 or 4 groups every year because we don't want to do large groups for this experience because it's so impactful. And it's called an atonement ceremony. We, you know, a lot of the slave trade was done in the northern part of Ghana. And Salaga is a place where was a major hub for slave trading. I mean, when you go there now, you can still find the museum that has the shackles and all of the accoutrements that went along with the slave trade. So we met with the paramount chief and we worked together to create a ceremony. And we said, we want you to do this authentically in your culture. When you have offended someone, when you have hurt someone, when you have caused someone harm, what is it that you do? How do you atone? So they put together a beautiful ceremony for us for the atonement. And it's very, very interesting. They have us come to the edge of their town. And while we're waiting for them, they're a mile away, and they come to meet us in mourning cloth, black mourning cloth. And they're drumming and they're singing mourning songs. They meet us at the wells. There were 600 wells at this spot. And this was the wells that they bathed the slaves that came from Burkina Faso in the northern Sahel region. They bathed them in those wells. They used the water from those wells to bathe them. There were 100. There were probably about 16 of them left. Okay, but they are still intact. And so we come to that spot. And the elders, the landowners, they have really strict rules about who can do the atonement. So our people get down from where they are to meet these elders, and they take them through this ceremony, which entails washing your feet. So there are special people with special positions of privilege in that community. And they come, and like for you, you're a descendant of slaves, I'm not sure. Are you a descendant of slaves?
Definitely.
You're a descendant of slaves. They would wash your feet. They, you know, and along with their prayers, you know, that they pray to the ancestors that you have returned, and that they are atoning for their participation in the slave trade. So the women are there, everybody's there, the women in that part of the country, they make this high-pitched sound, and they're there every time. So you wash your feet, they do it on leaves, you step over an area to a new area, which signifies, you know, coming back. And so it's quite impactful.
Right, I can only imagine. I mean, because I think that is important because of what happened in the history of what happened. And, you know, with people coming, what kind of emotion does that invoke, like that you've experienced? What kind of emotion does that bring? That
brings, like, you know, people when they go through the castles, the slave dungeons, they're very sad.
Yes.
But this is a different kind of feeling. It still makes you cry, but it's sort of cathartic, you know?
Kind of like therapeutic.
Yeah, exactly. And you you know, because somebody has finally said,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
So it's extremely emotional, and it brings just as many tears as it does when you are going through the castle. But it's a very healing kind of experience.
Right.
So people feel mightily healed when they come back. And then after that, we go back to the chief's palace, and we have a huge feast together. They slaughter a lamb. They change clothes into white. You know, they put on white, which signifies celebration.
Right, and kind of like life. Yeah.
And we have a feast together. The dancing, it's really quite, you have to be there.
Right.
Because
really
the spirit, the air, the whole thing is just, the atmosphere is just filled with joy.
Right,
and
celebration.
love and celebration is really great.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, you're making me want to go on the tours. And I'm here in Ghana, but I'm like, you know what? I want to take advantage of this because I like the fact that it's coming to like a different place. Instead of holding any type of bitterness or any and kind of like the past, it's letting go, like out with the old and in with the new.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, so that's amazing.
And people, we've been very careful because to be honest with you, it is such an emotional experience.
I'm sure.
Because people don't even know they have all of those emotions.
Right, never know
when they
there.
go through it. So I try to keep the groups small.
More
but I think it's a healing experience that's very good for African Americans, descendants of slaves.
Descendants of slaves.
Yeah, they don't have to be African American. They can be any diaspora whose descendants were slaves. So this is what we do for Landtours, and we do this across West Africa. We do it in every country. We have connections. We have partners in every country that we do this for.
Okay, well, I'm loving it. I'm loving like what you provide, because you not only provide, oh, this is just the just the land tour, and like you said, kind of like superficial. You give them an actual experience, and that is something that kind of with us coming over here is for us to remember for years to come. Maybe even we'll be like, okay, this is someplace where I want to live. This is someplace that it can really change the minds of people. Exactly. So I think that's really special what you do with Landtours.
So do the atonement, you're going to get healed, and you're going to be leaving feeling on a very big high.
And that's important, to have that healing, because us as a people, we need that healing. We've been so broken over the centuries, I would say, and really bringing about that healing, it's cathartic for us, and that will lead us to, in the future to come, future generations, is that healing. And that's important, and that's what your Landtours does. So
bring an African American man into Ghana, and you handle it properly. The housing, the food, the transportation, everything is at the standard they're used to. The information sharing, the communication back and forth, because Americans, we communicate about everything.
We do.
So you have to get ahead. We have to get ahead of the communication. So if you do that right, when that person has that experience with onboarding into this country, they're going to be very positive. And then the minute they walk out into the street and they get to mingle with the Ghanaians, then that's going to be another very positive experience.
Exactly.
And I've seen it with African American men, because for African American men, many of them, this is the first time where people just respect them and honor them for being a human being. You know what I mean?
I totally get you.
So it's such a profound experience for African American men. Because they haven't had, because in Ghana, men are respected.
Yes.
I don't care what kind of man you are.
You're respected as a man.
You're a man, you're going to get some respect.
You're going to get some diasporans coming here. It's a totally different system. Like I said, it's another way of doing things, and we can get easily frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
So what you're saying is, we probably speak to a lot of people who are coming here, just kind of take your time, learn to listen, because, all of us are human at the end of the day. We all come from different perspectives, and maybe your perspective is different than mine, and vice versa, and kind of come to a common ground before getting frustrated, and, kind of learning people.
Exactly, and in the background of all of this is that lurking trust issue. Is that lurking trust issue? That Black people have among themselves.
Yeah, because we do.
And if you can overcome that, if you can, to love yourself is to live here, and do it successfully. Because if you can do that, you can learn how to totally love and accept yourself, you know.
I love that. I love that. You've given so much good information and just, I would say, wisdom from being here for such a long time. You've really dropped some nuggets and some things for us. You know, coming here and business-wise, that's why I call you the true she boss. So thank you so much for coming on my channel. This was wonderful. This was awesome. And you guys, please stay tuned for her businesses, all her businesses, Avis, Landtours, and you know, so if you're interested, I will put all of her information in the description box for you guys. So thank you so much, Miss Mona.
You are welcome, and it's such a pleasure. And I'm here for you,
Aww.
both of you, and just come and talk to me about anything. If you get stuck, if you need somebody to do something, you want to have the right, just call me.
Thank you so much. May the Most High bless you. Thank you.
You're welcome.